I am JR, and I sell JPEGs on the internet for fake money, and it's beautiful. My mom, she thinks I'm a drug dealer. She doesn't think it's real money, and before we get started, I just have a quick favor. Unfortunately, my mom couldn't be here today, and just to prove that this was real, I told her we'd all say hello. So if we could, I'm just gonna turn this around real fast, and on the, of course, I was gonna say hi mom, but let's say GM. If we could, on the count of 3, if we could all just say GM to my mom, that would be awesome. 1, 2, 3, GM! Thanks everyone, awesome. So I'm gonna get into it. Again, I'm JR. I'm gonna talk about how I made my yearly salary in 2 weeks selling NFTs, utilizing Clubhouse. So I started off as an artist in Philadelphia. Woo! Very much a starving artist. I was living with my brother. I was painting pictures of people's dogs, of people's hamsters with bow ties. I was doing party flyers. I was doing anything and everything I could to make a living as an artist. I knew there had to be more. So that's when I decided to pursue my art education degree, and I became a middle school art teacher in Denver, Colorado at Stry Prep Sunnyside. Now, the children, I loved them. They fed my soul. They gave me a reason to live again, and all seemed right in the world until I got my first paycheck. Now, if there's any other teachers in this room, we know that we are severely underpaid. Yeah, it's terrible. We need to fix that, and we're gonna fix that. But I needed something more to feed my belly. They fed my soul, I needed to eat. So a colleague of mine told me about the app Clubhouse. Raise your hand if you've ever been on Clubhouse before. Beautiful, I'd say about 75% of you. Now, Clubhouse is an app that I highly suggest everyone look into, download, get an invite, and it's basically a live podcast. And when you listen in, there are a million rooms on NFTs, on literally anything. You can find a room, there's like chill rooms, calm rooms, any and everything you can think of. And I was in original just art rooms, and then I saw this NFT room. It said NFTs and arts. So I jump in. I hear someone talking about how they're making tens of thousands of dollars selling JPEGs. I'm like, I call BS on this, I don't believe it. Now, many of us, when Clubhouse first came out, it saved us because we had the pandemic going on. We had no way of talking with anyone outside in the real world. So myself and many others spent hours from like 6 o'clock at night till 3, 4 in the morning just talking about NFTs, talking about art, and at the same time building a community. And a lot of the people that I see out here right now and that have came are community members that I've built and I've made in Clubhouse. So I saw this Clubhouse room entitled Banksy NFT Work. Raise your hand if we ever heard of Banksy. I mean, almost everyone, right? So I'm like, I have to see what this is all about. So I jump in, and there's this artist who goes by the name of Burnt Banksy. And what he did was, he purchased a real, authentic Banksy print that was around like $80,000 or $90,000, and he burned it on video. Just burned himself, videoed himself burning it in front of everyone, and then turned that Banksy piece that he burnt into an NFT. My first thought was, this man is either an idiot or a genius. I'm like, this marketing tactic is huge, and it's gonna go up for auction. It's either gonna like go through the roof, or it's gonna crash, and he just burnt a Banksy piece for nothing. Well, lo and behold, I saw the ticker going up to about 300,000, closing in on like 400,000. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, this man's a genius. I then had an idea in my head. You know, the entire NFT world, because this was already making national news. Like, not just like world news. So Banksy had a drop, or not a drop, but like a piece go live, I forgot where it was, and the headline wasn't his piece, it was that this NFT auction was up to around $350,000. So I checked the two individuals bidding on this, and I saw that there was gonna be one clear winner, so I check his wallet, and I look at it, and he has no other NFTs in his wallet. So I had a spark, and this was the moment that changed my life forever. At the time, I only minted 2 NFTs. I haven't sold anything yet. And I'm like, what if I just gift him one of my NFTs? Because I know the entire world is gonna be looking at his wallet. They're gonna see this Banksy NFT for 400,000. And then they're gonna see this other individual's NFT, this JR. Who is this JR? And why should we look into his work too? So I gift him my piece first before he wins the auction. Then he wins the auction, and lo and behold, you see this incredible Banksy artwork that made literally worldwide news, and a JR piece. And then after that, I was like, you know what? I want to make sure like everyone really sees my work. So then I sent him my other piece as well. And they were both editions. One was an edition of 7, and I think one was an edition of 5. In a span of about 4 or 5 hours, I made $10,000, and I sold out of everything, just like that. Now, I know some people say, don't just randomly give people NFTs, ask for consent first, which is entirely understandable, but I am a giving individual, and it ended up working out in my favor. And in the next about 2 weeks, I made around $40,000 selling other NFTs. And I wanted to impart some wisdom that I learned about, like, how can I take this momentum and keep it going with my NFTs? So I'm like, all right, I gotta keep putting more NFTs out. I wanna keep this going. And it was literally a fake it till you make it kind of story. So what I did was, I came up with a strategy. I like to say, you have to have 3 cars in your garage. You have your Lamborghini, your BMW, and your Civic. And what I mean by that is you want your one-of-one piece, your Lamborghini that you have up for sale, that you think is far more expensive than you think you're even worth. So maybe like you usually sell pieces for, let's say, 0.5 ETH or whatever it may be, and then you put that one-of-one for like 3 ETH. Then you have your BMWs. Maybe you make that an edition of 3. So then you have other collectors who are really serious who want to get your work, and it's still in a kind of an expensive price point, so you hit that 3 of 3, which makes them feel like they're still getting something pretty rare. And then you have the Civics. So then I usually make like an edition of about 10, and I call this the community piece. So you make it a cheaper price point that anyone can get to, but it's still spreading your artwork everywhere. And after doing that, it just kind of exploded and just went a million different directions. And now I've along the way, I've found different ways to market my art. If anyone knows with NFTs, you can do like unlockable content. So almost all my pieces had unlockable content. And I went on Clubhouse, I was on stage, and one of my pieces of unlockable content was that anyone that got this, picked up my piece, there's 3 of them, got my actual phone number. And the piece was about, like, if anyone ever left you unread before, it's like heartbreaking. You're like, oh, like you tell someone you love them, and they don't tell you love you back, and you just get the ... and nothing. So I said, unlockable content, you know, if you buy my piece, you have my actual number, you can call me whenever you get left unread, and I'll answer. I talked that story on stage. If anyone knows Farouk, the man, the myth, the legend, love him. He brought me up, and I spoke about my piece, and next thing you know, Jake Paul picked it up, Blau picked it up, And it just kind of took off from there too. And then all of a sudden I get a phone call from Jake Paul. He's like, hey, is this JR? I'm like, is this real life? I'm like, who's this? And it turns out it was Jake Paul. And it's all from Clubhouse. And I have about 1 minute left, so I'm gonna try to speed this up. What I wanna say is Clubhouse has helped build and foster community. And I don't work for Clubhouse at all. I have no affiliation with them whatsoever. But they changed my life, and they helped me meet some of the most important people I've ever met. I met the likes of an individual by the name of Strawberry. Woo! Rare Pizzas. M. Bergie. I Am Complex. Crypto Spaces. And we started a project, if anyone knows, called Oniforce. Woo! Let's go. And none of that would have happened if I didn't meet the people I did via Clubhouse. So what I want to say to everyone in here is that I know we hear it all the time, but we really are so early. Everyone in here is gonna make it, bottom line. You get a WAGMI, you get a WAGMI, we all get WAGMIs, we're all gonna make it, and I just want to say, keep at it, keep building the community, keep building people up. We are all in this together. I love everyone, thank you, and best of luck with the NFT space. Thank you.